Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne, and this is episode 104. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe or follow button and check us out at the loudest.com on the planet, knac.com. My guest for this episode is ISSA ØVERSVEEN Martin, professionally known as ISSA. She has a brand new album out on Frontiers Music called Lights of Japan. It's the follow-up to her 2021 album, Queen of Broken Hearts. Lights of Japan is sort of a musical shift from her most recent albums, and she's going to tell you all about that and more. So here she is, ISSA. If I knew absolutely nothing about ISSA, how would you describe your music to me?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've sort of been touching on different bases, I think. This is my 7th album, so obviously I've done this sort of music for quite a while. I think this album obviously touches more on the sort of softer AOR, back to the 80s, very much based on the sort of 80s movies. I think that's what we aimed for when we started out of this album. But I have other albums as well that's been more in the sort of hard rock, some even with a metal touch. But for this album here, we went for the pure sort of AOR, 80s style, lots of synths vibe. So I think it's time for a bit of a change up. So
And your latest album is Lights of Japan. It came out on January 20th through Frontiers Music. And you mentioned that this is a sort of a rebirth. And I've noticed that you have new songwriting team, you have new band members, you have new producers. So I'm assuming this is sort of what the rebirth is about, with this sort of sound leaning towards synth pop.
Yeah, I think obviously I think it's back 3 or 4 albums. I did an album called Crossfire. Crossfire was written with Tom and James predominantly. Obviously James is my husband, so I get the pleasure to work with him as much as I like. But at that point, a few years back, we just decided to do this album, Crossfire, and obviously the label was happy with it, but this wanted to take over a bit after that. I don't know if they were too happy with us obviously making a decision that this is just going to be the album you're going to get. So so they took over for a while with the producers and the songwriting majorly, and that was fine at the moment. Obviously I've had kids in the meanwhile. I've been busy doing life basically. So when Frontiers approached me to do this album, I thought, I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Like, I want to work with the people that not matters to me, but the people close to me, that's in my house. I see all these great songs being written every day, here, and my albums isn't with this, so I think, I just said to Frontiers, listen, this is what I want to do. If not, I just don't want to bother, because I feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. So they were pretty cool with it. They said, right, okay, we're going to interview a few producers, you can deal with the songwriting. So that's how Michele came into the picture, which he was great. He just said to me, listen, I don't want to be writing your songs for you. This is your album. I want you to do what you want to do. And I think being busy in life, with everything, I turned around to James and I said, God, you better help me. I've got 8 weeks to write this album. Like I don't know how that's going to happen. So he just went into this room here and just started writing, and we worked together that way, and we were sending the songs to Michele, and he was starting with the drums and getting everything sorted out, and we were sending over these ideas, and You know, it just it was really great, and it felt amazing to be back working with, you know, my team here. So yeah.
Now, your team being sort of a family affair, your husband James and your brother-in-law Tom, I would assume that there's got to be some sort of uh, aggravation, kind of working with family, where it's you would get into a
Yeah,
squabble. You wouldn't squabble normally with, say, Alessandro over something that
yeah,
you your husband or your brother-in-law.
yeah. No, exactly. Listen, we've known each other for like, I mean, you know, 12, 13 years now. So we're sort of getting over that argumentative stage. You know, we've been through it before. You know, we're very highly opinionated, all of us. You know, we got an idea about what we would like to do or hear, or it can be anything. You know, but you know, this just was pretty painless, to be honest. You know, it was all right. Um, we kind of all know what we're good at in certain areas, and that's, you know, how it works. So but yeah, you know, this is the beauty about the you know, working with, obviously, with these guys. I can come in and I say, I don't like that. I just don't like this part. You know, can we just do something else? And they'll be like, well, you try and sing it differently. Then, you know, you do this, do that. So, you know, we kind of work around what works for me as well. You know, and sometimes when you work with other people, that's obviously abroad or, you know, in a different country, it's a little bit different to that. You know, obviously you can't just be on the phone all the time. You know, I don't like this part there. We've got to change this. You know, you've also got to respect the songwriters and sort of like, if Alessandro has written a song, you know, I know he's all up for changes. That's not the issue, but it takes quite a lot of work to change parts that's already been recorded, that's sort of ready for you. So, you know, by doing it here, we can start on a song, and before we kind of move forward, you know, we'll do the drums will just be finger drums. You know, we sketch out the song before we kind of make the final version of it, so we can change parts as we go, and, you know, kind of create the song around that. So, you know, there is a huge difference, you know, there is, but you know, everybody I worked with in my career has been great. It's not that, but it's just it's easier and more honest, I think, you know, coming from here.
Okay. I listened to the album before I even looked up which songs were singles, and it just so happened that the three songs I like the best are the ones that you've put out so far. So let's talk a little bit about Live Again. I'm sort of thinking it's more of the coming out of the times that we're living in and being ourselves once again. Am I on point there?
Yeah. So Live Again was written by Michele. So he did two of the songs on the album, and he just said, you know, I got this song, you know, if you don't like it, you know, it's okay, you don't have to do it. But yeah, it's a real cool up tempo song. And you know, I don't know quite what he sort of like was writing about in that point. But yeah, you know, it's about life, live again, you know. And I just thought it was a really cool up tempo song. I just remember James coming in. He did all the you know. So we kind of added that into it, made it slightly more synthy. I don't think it was that to begin with when we started with it, but yeah, I think it turned out cool. You know, it's you need some good songs that's kind of like a little bit more edgy, I guess, compared to the other songs on this album.
Was the album's title track Lights of Japan inspired by a trip to Japan?
No, you've got to ask James about that. Where was that inspired from? I don't know. I think I really don't know where he got the inspiration from. You know, he called me in one day and was like, I got this song, you know, it's called, you know, pen, you know, and I think it just kind of happened. But yeah, yeah, where exactly he got it from, I don't know. But I just felt like it was such a cool song. a different title than most other songs. And you know, when Frontiers got back to me, they got the album. They said, "We want Cease Today and Live Again to be the singles." And I was like, no, like I want Lights of Japan. Lights of Japan is different. You know, I wanted to do something different than what I've done in the past. Live Again and Seize the Day will slightly touch into the old sort of style, not the old style, but you know, the previous albums. And I just wanted to do something different. And I really pushed on. Really, I wanted Lights of Japan, maybe Fight to Survive. I mean, Chains of Love is great as well. Moon of Love, to be sort of like the 2 video singles. But it was hard for everybody because I think we just ended up with a lot of great songs. So obviously when I talked to the label, they're like, it's really hard to pick which songs are gonna, you know, be the singles. Leave it with us for a week. And then I'm like emailing back, have you checked it out? Which songs do you think? Well, I don't know. We got to listen a bit more. I was like, well, you know, there's so many good songs. It's hard to pick exactly which one is the best one. But, you know, I got my way at the end. You know, Lights of Japan, I thought that was different. Yeah, I just loved the song. So.
Well, I think in Moon of Love, something you did different was sort of the addition of the saxophone. I don't recall hearing much saxophone in your past work, so
no.
and that element kind of adds that 80s touch in addition to the synths, obviously.
Yeah, we Moon of Love. Oh, I just love that song. So I made a little separate video for it, you know, just me editing the stuff and put that out because I think it's such a great song that, you know, it'd be a shame if people sort of miss it. And I love the saxophone. We actually had a hired in session saxophonist that was like playing everything. So everything is the real deal. Yeah, it was all about catching that sort of 80s backstreet driving in your car, you know, sort of feel to it with the saxophone. And I guess we're just kind of trying to do something a little bit different, you know. And I think this album, obviously, in this household, you know, we're obviously Tom and James is getting much more into production at the moment, so they're working with different acts, and I can kind of see that, you know, going forward, I think there's going to be even cooler stuff coming from here. Like there's a lot happening. So yeah, you know, just trying to do something different. Moon of Love, I just love the song, you know, get some great saxophone in there and do something different, I guess.
Did you record the album mostly at your home studios, or did you go to the Groove Factory with Michele Guaitolli to kind of finish it up?
Yeah, so to begin with, Michele was like, I'd like you to come over here. You know, we'll record everything. But, you know, it's sometimes hard to get that time off. Just, I was saying, just to record vocals, you know. I think having Tom and James here, you know, the songs are written here. It was not such a big issue to just record the vocals here and just send it over. What I did was like I record myself, so I will just record using Logic, and I'll just send my entire sort of like sheet to him, and then he got a few takes of bits and pieces, and you know, if he wants to change whatever, he's got a few alternatives there, you know, with notes going up or notes going down, and then he can kind of look at that. And James would do the same, you know, he'd send his parts over, and then Michele would kind of sit there and put everything together. And if he would very often come back and say, like, let's say Chains of Love, it was actually a ballad, you know, I need to know a channel of love, you know, and he came back and said, I want to speed this up. And I think he put it from something like, I can't remember what it was, if it was 80 or something like that, up to 140. I mean, it was really highly, both me and James like, ooh, I don't know about this, you know. And we kind of really got into a bit of a tiff about that song, because obviously he could hear something we couldn't hear. So this was great working with Michele, because he would come back and have ideas around our ideas. So he said, no, it's got to be that. And I said, well, I don't know. And James said, I want to hear it in 130. And he was like, no, it's going to be 135 or whatever he wanted it in. And that's pretty fast for a song, you know, that you just recorded as quite a ballady song. So I just remember the guys. I mean, Michele was like, I no way am I doing this. I won't have my name on this unless you guys do this. Like, I know for a fact this is going to be great. So I think, you know, eventually I was like, boys, relax, you know, let's just go in the middle. Let's do like 130. That's what I feel like we could do. And let's see how that sounds. So that's kind of how it ended up. But, you know, it was great. Michele was really good in that way, you know, putting things together and making it, you know, more, you know, wholesome, you know.
As far as physical copies of the album, is Frontiers mainly focusing on European countries? Because I noticed they're for sale in the European shop, but not the US shop.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really know the answer on that one. I had an email regarding it, and I think they said something. It was delayed on, I don't know, the Amazon US, but it should be over there. But, you know, remind me and I'll send them an email. I'll be complaining.
You have your own shop though, too, right? Where you can get the CD and some nice t-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, I've never done that before. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna go on the wave of, you know, see what happens. You know, I've got a few t-shirts, a bunch of CDs. I'll sign them, you know, and send it off. It's yeah, I mean it's just something I'm trying at the moment, you know. I've never done it before, so we'll see how it goes.
Did you or Frontiers ever consider a vinyl release for this album?
I think I personally think that Frontiers maybe didn't realize how well this album would go down. You know, it's always a bit like you know, they can't always kind of predict how things are gonna end up. And I think obviously with all this discussion we had and everything, yeah, I just don't think, obviously, you know, Japan, there's a label in Japan that obviously is doing a few acts that they do at a time. You know, they make a little shop, in the shop in Tower Records. They make like a booze, you know. And I had that on my first release, and I've never had it since. But now, you know, I've got it again, so it's good. It seems like the album is going down really well, and that was really, really cool because, you know, obviously it's yeah, it's just something that seems to be like in the beginning of my career. You know, obviously when you start out, things are different, but yes, it's really cool to see things, you know, going that direction. So I don't think they necessarily knew that it would be going down this well. But vinyl next time, yeah.
Are you considering any live shows in 2023?
Oh, I would love to do live shows. I think, you know, money is a huge deal. You know, I know you probably hear this all the time. You know, especially maybe as a solo act, you know, obviously you have to pay for the band, the cost, the trips, you know, everything. So, you know, I'm very lucky. I have really great musicians around me, you know, that would be awesome to do. I use some of them in the video, you know, they're really cool guys. So, you know, I'd be up for things that wouldn't, you know, absolutely drain me. You know, you know, I'm not made of money, but so yeah, I'd be up for that. But at the moment, you know, it's more focused on what's going on at home, you know, with the songwriting, and there's so many projects going on, and a lot of music. So I find a lot of pleasure in doing that. And if the right stuff came up, you know, in the festivals, you know, people come on, then I'll get my band together and we'll go and play it. You know, that's basically how it is.
I saw a photo that you posted of you and Ted Poley performing on stage. What performance was that from?
That was we did Frontiers Fest back years ago. I met him a few times. We Tom and James has written a lot for him. He's such a great guy, and that was. I mean, we met several times. We did Firefest, but then yeah, I think that was definitely Frontiers Fest. Yeah, and we just a few days before he was like, "Does he want to come and sing this song with me?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah." So it was quite spontaneous, great fun. He's a good guy, so yeah.
Did you sing on his last album, Beyond the Fade? Did you do backing vocals on that?
I did a song with him. Oh my god. I can't remember the song. I do so many songs. But we did a duet together, which was great. Listen, I'm so sorry. I can't remember the title of it at the moment.
It's kind of an old album. Don't worry.
Yeah, do you know what? I do so many songs at the moment. Tom and James is doing this Nitrate album. I'm doing all the songs on that. We're just working on a duet tonight. So yeah, but Ted Poley, yes, I did some work with him. I seem to be the duet girl. I have a lot of duets with with some really cool guys. And I've done the song with Ted Poley. I did Rain Town with Steve Oberlin. This yeah, it's good fun.
So you mentioned Nitrate. You're working on that album. What other projects are you working on in the meantime?
That's for me to know. No. So I know. Obviously, Tom and James. They're working on the new Nitrate album. They've got a production page up. So there's a lot of sneak peeks in there. So all the songs that they write, I always sing them for them. So all the demos will sort of be me. So I'm kind of part of that process. They can't really sing, so they kind of leave it to me. They will give me a good idea, and then we make the songs together, and then I sing them for them, and then obviously all these Nitrate songs. I've done all the demo work for them, so I know Alessandra Shrondell is singing the album, and I think we're doing a duet on there as well. But yeah, it's a lot of work. I do all the songs before anybody else is singing the songs, so I've got a lot of work on my hands. I sit on the night and sort of come up with all the BDs and how it's going to go and what's going to go here and there, and see if the guys like it. And I know, obviously, for them, they're moving forward with other projects, something really cool in the making at the moment. So we keep an eye out for that. So that's probably going to be a lot of singing on my part, but it's good. I keep my voice in shape that way. I get to kind of practice my craft, I guess.
Might you be singing demos for the next Vega album?
No, I will not. No. Tom and James, obviously, they've left Vega. I don't know if you know that, but
No.
I think they just wanted to focus more on their production and getting more into that and the songwriting, which is what they used to do years and years ago. So that is where obviously their passion lies. Writing music is where absolutely the passion is, and now producing is taking over our life. So it's a lot of music from here and I'm in there, and but as far as Vega, no, I don't think so. I think they're doing their own thing at the moment, and I think it's sometimes they're all great friends, but it might be complicated if they're going to start producing a band they've sort of been in, and then so I think they want to do a little bit of a different style at the moment. So that's the gist of what I think. But yeah.
So we'll be on the lookout for that. Those are all the questions I have for you today. Your new album, Lights of Japan, it's out now on Frontiers Music. It sounds great, and I enjoyed it, and you should be very proud of it.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
And I appreciate you coming on the podcast today, and I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you very much. And same to you.
Once again, I want to thank ISSA for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out her latest album, Lights of Japan, out now on Frontiers Music. Head over to your favorite music streaming app. Take a listen to the album. If you like what you hear, buy a physical copy. Support the artist. For all things ISSA, head over to her Facebook page, facebook.com/ISSA site. I also want to thank Dustin Hardman of Hardman Promotions and Frontiers Music for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. I'll see you again soon.